Hi guys, I'm Danny West, and you're back with another episode of the Soapbox, your patient education station. So today we're doing physio first aid for the SI joint. Now this is a little ambitious because I'm basically going to try to give you a little mini self-assessment if you're thinking you might have SI joint issues, but just know that the SI joint can be very complex even for a physio assessing it. So please take this video with a grain of salt. It's just meant to start to introduce some concepts with the SIJ. But again, it doesn't even skim the surface. So I'm going to try to keep it in and around 10 to 12 minutes here. So if you think you're having SI joint pain, okay, here's the very official technical test that we would say you are positive for SI joint pain. It's called the Hortons finger test. And it is, if I were to ask you where your pain is, you take a finger and you point to right here. So it could be either side, but if you picture we have our sacrum here, it's a triangle bone, it's going to be either in the right SI or the left SI, maybe sometimes both, but it's right where the sacrum kind of meets up with the hip bones, okay? So if you point, no, my pain is pinpoint right here, we would probably say, okay, you have some sort of an SI issue or you have SI joint pain, okay? The reasons why can vary person to person. So how I want you to start looking at the SI joint and the hips is it's not one big chunk, right? The pelvis is actually two hip bones and a sacrum, so kind of three pieces of a jigsaw puzzle. So I want you to think of those hip bones like wheels, okay? And for my very technical demonstration, I'm going to use little caps, okay, as the wheels or our mini hip bones. They are to represent this hip bone moving as a wheel and this hip bone. And as you can see, they both attach to the sacrum, okay? So if these wheels are kind of out of alignment, and I tread lightly with that because there's a bit of controversy in the physio world of, well, does the SI joint actually move? For the sake of my conversation today and to try to keep it simple, we're going to say, yeah, it might move a little bit more than it should. Because really, that joint is surrounded by crazy amount of ligaments. It really doesn't even have a lot of movement on a good day. So just take it with a grain of salt. We're just saying, oh, maybe there's a touch bit more movement there than they should be, and it's causing some pain at one of the joints. Now, if you think of them like wheels, okay, so we have the front of the hip bones here, and say the pelvis is, or the sacrum's back here. So we could have maybe the right wheel tipped a little forward. We could have the left wheel maybe tipped a little back, okay? And so what that would mean on an assessment is if I'm looking at someone's hip bones, maybe this hip bone is sitting a little bit back or forward, and same with this side. Maybe it's sitting a little bit more forward or back. The point is, if I put my fingers on the bony parts of the front of their hip and maybe they don't line up, it's just a little breadcrumb of maybe that could be why the SI joint is a little cranky. It's because those wheels just aren't sitting as well as they could, okay? So I've kind of marked up myself here. So right hip bone, this one's kind of shifted, left hip bone, and you can do this on yourself at home. These are just dollar store stickers. But basically, and don't do this in the mirror. So actually just try to like feel for the bony part of the front of the hip bone, put a sticker on it, and put the other sticker on the left, then go to the mirror, and I want you to tell me what you see. Now, little disclaimer, I don't have SI joint pain, but when I stickered myself, do you see how this right one is sitting a little bit higher than the left? Okay? Again, I'm just gonna put that in the back of my mind. And just notice on you, is one dot sitting higher or lower than the other? And we're gonna use this to kind of piece together a mini starter program. So for the sake of today, I'm gonna say this one is really high, just to make it super obvious. So if I think of my hip bones like wheels again, okay, I could say that maybe my right wheel, if this is the bony part of the hip, is sitting higher or maybe back, and the left one relative to the right is sitting a bit forward. Okay, so I'm kind of like that. We're going to say my right one is back a little bit and my left is a little bit far forward. So with that, to even things out, I'm going to try to get this right hip bone forward, and I'm going to try to get this left one back a little bit, okay? So we did some deep lunges in some of the previous videos, and you can actually use it to start to even out your wheels, okay? So if my right one's back, I want to try to move it forward. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to do a little kneeling or dynamic stretch, but I'm only going to do one side. I'm going to try to bias one over the other. So I'm going to prop my left foot up because it's going to put my left hip bone back. And right now it's sitting forward. If my right leg's down, it's going to try to get my right hip forward because right now it's sitting back. So all I'm going to do is I'm going to start to lunge forward 15 times, keeping my hips square and kind of tucking my pelvis under a little bit as I go. So again, if you think of those wheels, I'm shifting the left one back and the right one forward to try to even them out. Set of 15, call that done. I would try that every hour throughout the day. Again, you shouldn't feel any sharp pain or anything. Just be a nice little gentle mobilizer. Now, let's say, Danny, I don't want to get down on the floor. My knees hurt, or it's too painful. You can try a stair version. So, I'm going to picture this is maybe the second stair. I'm at the landing. I'm going to try to mimic that same thing. So if I were to bias this, okay, I want to keep my left one coming back and my right one, I want to come forward. So I'm going to prop my left foot on the second stair, and I'm going to stair touch and come back. And I'm letting my hips sink forward, again, to let the wheels sink into the rotation we want to put them in. Okay, and I'm actually like really trying to drop my hips towards the stair each time. Again, 10 to 15. So pick one of those two. Either the lunges, kneeling, or the stair lunges. And the point is, whichever one looks, oh, I lost a dot. Whichever one looks lower, we're going to prop that leg up, okay? You only do that side, okay? 10 to 15, put that on repeat. That would be your main one to start with if you're trying to self-treat a little bit of SI joint pain, okay? Again, if it's causing more pain, don't do it. It's just an idea to start to encourage some movement in a good direction. Now, the last thing I wanted to chat about is some self-massage if you have the cups, okay? A great place to put the cups if you have some SI joint pain is QL, okay? QL is a muscle from the bottom rib to the top of the iliac crest, okay? Sometimes if that gets tight, it can pull on your wheels a bit. And the other one, don't you know, is the psoas. I also find the psoas can affect your wheel alignment. But for the sake of today, we're just going to focus on QL. So you can take the medium cup. We're going to cup QL, which again is this portion of the low back, like so. And if you're not sure what side to do both, okay? You might notice like, oh yeah, it's much tighter on this side. I might need to cup a little bit more. Usually, not always, usually the hip that's sitting back is being pulled back by QL. So again, if I wanted to be specific, because my right one was sitting back, I'm going to cup my right QL. But if that just went over your head, just cup both. Cup both, and you pair it with the lunges on the one side that matches your hips. Now, I would do that for about 3 to 4 days consistently. Then after, re-sticker, okay? See if they're starting to line up a bit more. See if you notice a little less pain. The thing you gotta watch for with SI joint is if you're sitting cross-legged, probably won't like that a whole lot. Also watch you're not sitting in one hip all the time when you're standing, because that can also affect your wheels, okay? So again, that was very general, but something easy you can start with, and just to kind of start to self-assess, what is my hip level looking like? And could I start some gentle movements to try to neutralize that or even that out, okay? Start with that, and again, message me if you have any questions, but definitely if you're getting that positive Hortons finger test, get in to see someone. You have SI joint pain, but there's so many reasons, QL, psoas, core, pregnancy, pelvic floor, all the things can be contributing to that, okay? And this is merely just starting you off with a little movement regime. All right, we'll see you in a couple weeks, and thanks for tuning in.